Hello, my lovelies. It is time for my October wrap-up vlog, so stay tuned. So I just finished Wild as the Witch by Rachel Griffin. I think I'm going to give this one 4 stars. It follows a young witch whose families had to move because of some drama that happened where they lived before, and they're kind of starting over but not letting it be known that they are witches. And they're running like a wildlife rescue type place, and well, the intern that they have working for them is very much against witches. Witches are sort of a in all of her books, witches, witchcraft, all of that is very common, normal in their world. But this intern, he is very much against witches, and so she's very concerned about what he's going to do if he ever finds out. And in her trying to deal with certain things, she does these almost like fake spells. Her grandmother taught her to make these spells, but she's like giving them to the earth, and nothing ever comes of them. And so she does this spell, or essentially a curse, to make him a mage. But again, she's giving this to the earth. She's not actually casting it on him. But then this owl who has escaped from the refuge swoops down, and the curse is now in this owl. And she has to fix it, because if the owl dies, then the curse is going to not only get the intern, but also because this owl is like an amplifier of magic, it's likely to affect everybody in their whole region. And becoming a witch or a mage can be very, very dangerous if you don't know how to handle it. And from the past drama that she's had to deal with, she's witnessed a human burn alive when they didn't know how to handle their magic. Yeah, this was really good. I love how she interweaves certain things in each of her stories. Like in her the one before this, there was like climate change, and in this one it was talking about like endangered species and that kind of stuff. So I really appreciate that. I'm giving this one 4 stars. Okay, so I got to the first gift, which is on page 83. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about this book yet. I feel like we have a very unreliable narrator in this. It pretty much starts out like the very first chapter, something is spooking her and essentially chasing her out of her house. And then the next day she's like, okay, I gotta figure out what's going on here. She's like, I've lived in this house for 15 years. What the heck? And then she kind of starts questioning, what, is this real? But then whatever this thing is returns that night. She calls the cops. The cops show up, walk around. They're like, everything looks good. Have a good night. She's like, okay. They didn't help at all. She's like, obviously it left. But then night after night, it's coming back. She's not getting any sleep. And I don't know. I'm kind of feeling like either she's not all there or she's this ghost. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Okay, so I am on page 171. I'm like right at the 50% point. And okay, so you know how earlier I was like, this was at the very beginning. I was like, it's an unreliable narrator, or she's the ghost or something. And I was afraid that that's what the book was going to be, that it wasn't going to be towards the end, until towards the end we find out that she's actually the ghost and yada, yada, yada. But that's not what this book is, which is making me enjoy it more. So like almost immediately after I opened that last gift, the reveal of what she is, has come to light. And yes, I don't think this is too much of a spoiler because it's in the first 100 pages of the book, but she is this ghost, and the intruder or whatever are actually the people that are living there, or the person that's living there. And the rest of the book is her trying to figure out what's going on, what happened to her, all that stuff. And so I'm actually enjoying this more now than I was. So that's cool. Okay, I just finished this and I really, really enjoyed this. There were some parts that I felt were a bit drawn out, but overall, excellent spooky read, perfect for this time of year, and I'm gonna give this one 4 stars. Really good, way better than I expected it to be. So yesterday I managed to get done with the stuff that I needed to do pretty quickly, and I got some reading done. I worked on my diamond painting. It was nice. So first I finished Court of the Vampire Queen by Katie Robert. This one I'm gonna give 4 stars. I very much enjoyed it, but this is literally book porn. That's what it is. It's a polyamorous relationship. It's done very, very well and very, very smutty, and I loved it. There was a little bit of a storyline, enough to get you from steamy scene to steamy scene, but overall it was book porn. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. Oh, but I guess the gist of the story is our main character, she's brought to this vampire as a sacrifice. Pretty much she's supposed to go there and he's to feed off of her and impregnate her, and then once she's been impregnated, then her father will come back and use her to like have control over that vampire once he has the child. That's the gist of this. Okay, so when I was done with that, I was like, okay, I'm going to work on The Unwanteds. And I actually was able to find this on Libby. I thought I was just going to be sitting and physically reading, but I found this on Libby, and so I worked on my diamond painting. This, it says here The Hunger Games meets Harry Potter, but I see it as, okay, so if you take Nevermore by Jessica Townsend and you mix it with The Giver and a little bit of Divergent, that's kind of what I got with this. Not so much Hunger Games or Harry Potter. I think what they're mixing up with the Hunger Games is the Divergent type aspect to it. And for the Harry Potter, yeah, there's some magic, but it feels more like the Nevermore kind of magic. So this is middle grade, but it is seriously high stakes middle grade with like kids are dying and stuff. There's a war. Alex and his twin, I think his name's Aaron. Yeah, Aaron. The world that they live in, Quill, is when you reach a certain age, you're split into different categories. There's the Wanteds, and they go off to Wanted Academy or whatever. They're like, get to go to college and things like that. And they're going to be the ones running the government and all that. Then there are the Necessaries, which are all the other like workers. And then I don't know if there's another one, but then there's the Unwanteds. And then the Unwanteds are, those that sing and dance and draw and all those kind of creative things and make believe and all of that. And in Quill, it's everything's super structured. There's no fun and games. There's no creativity, none of that, which kind of gives me the Giver vibes. And so these kids that are creative and whatnot, they're not wanted in this world, so they are sent for elimination. And like they're all supposed to be killed, but it just so happens that when they are brought to where they're supposed to be killed, they're actually whisked away to this very special place where like the colors are even more vivid, and there's everything's kind of dull in Quill, but in I forget what the place is called, Arteme. In Arteme, there's talking animals and kind of like the Wendimals or whatever you call them in Nevermore. There's talking animals and instructors. There's a school. They are taught to like hone their creativity and explore, and their creativity actually leads to magic, and there's magic in the world, and they're able to use their magic for good things but also not good things, and they're actually preparing for war with Quill, because they know Quill is eventually going to find this place and they're going to come after him. They just want to live happily in peace and, all that. But very high stakes. The Divergent aspect is like the very high stakes. You're preparing for this war, and you're also trying to, shut down this corrupt system and all of that. The Unwanteds, they're the Divergents. Okay? And I thoroughly enjoyed this. I'm going to give this one 4.5 stars, and I'm looking forward to continuing the series. Okay, so my live reading sprints haven't started yet, but I've been reading One True Loves, and I'm on page 174. Oh, this book, oh my goodness. It's so, she is in such a tough position. So we get this whole love story between her and Jesse, high school sweethearts. They fall in love. They go on these adventures together. They're now in their 20s, 25. They've gotten married. They have this wonderful life. And the day before their 1-year anniversary, he is gone on a trip. The helicopter crashes, and they deem that there's no survivors. And it's heartbreaking. She's devastated because this is the love of her life. And then we gradually get to see her recover and move on and all this stuff. And it's now a couple of years later, and she meets up with a boy that she grew up with, and they fall in love, and they start this whole relationship, and eventually they have this whole life together, and now they're engaged. And then Jesse comes back. He's not dead. He was the only survivor, and he went through this whole turmoil, this whole thing of trying to get back here to her, and it took him a long time to be able to get back. But he did, and now she's stuck with what to do. He's back, and he wants to pick up their life and continue where they left off, and he's still madly in love with her, and she still loves him, but she mourned him. She grieved for him, but at the same time, she loves Sam, and Sam is this wonderful person, and he before Jesse came back, he was like, I'm never going to make you stop, feeling the feelings that you had for him, and he's always going to be a part of you and all this stuff. But that was when they thought, he wasn't alive. And so now Sam's in this position where he loves Emma so much, and he's always loved her since they were teenagers, and he's so happy with this life that they've built. And now Jessie comes back, and she is in a tough position. And I just wanted to come on and say that before my live reading sprints start. But oh my goodness, this book. Whew. Okay, I am currently still in my live reading sprints. I only have 3.5 minutes to tell you that I finished One True Loves. Oh, this book. I think I cried 3 times. All on the live. 5 stars. It's fantastic. It's tough. I've said repeatedly in the live that I can't imagine being in Emma's position and having to make the decisions that she did. And also the guy's position, both of the guys. There's no bad guy here. It's just these 2 amazing men. They both love her so much. But just the whole situation is just terrible and hard. But oh my God, this was so good. Oh, so good. 5 stars. Okay, I just finished Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, and I'm gonna give that one 4 stars. very impactful, and I think that's one that I actually would recommend Xander to read. Not because I think he would do anything like this. I just think he would find this story interesting and impactful as well. But this is about a boy who loved his brother dearly, and his brother was shot. And he is now on his way. Like, he got the gun that he knew his brother had, and he is on his way to kill the person that shot his brother, or that he believes shot his brother. On his way down this elevator to go and take care of things, he's visited by some ghosts who have information to share that might affect his decision. And it was, like I said, very impactful. So I didn't check in again last night because I stayed up until like 12:30 finishing The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord. And I'm going to have to give this 5 stars. I cried so much throughout. Our main character, Paige, this book starts out with a year prior, the boy that she was going out with died in an accidental drowning. And they only dated for like 2 months, but it's affected her life so drastically since he drowned, you know, with the loss, with the grief, with the fear. She's afraid to swim. She won't even take a bath. She'll take a shower, but she won't take a bath. And she's just kind of become known as the girl whose boyfriend drowned. And she's starting her junior year, and she's trying to move on from that, and comes up with a plan for, you know, how to have a good year. And there's some cute aspects in there, like this boy that she had a crush on for like ever. She's going after him and ends up kind of friends with his cousin, and maybe that would lead to something with the boy she had a crush on, but of course she ends up falling for the cousin. And it's all super, super cute. Amazing group of friends. She's also dealing with her grandmother's health. Her grandmother, about a month prior to when this started, started having, not a month prior, like a year prior, shortly after the whole thing with the boyfriend drowning, grandmother started having issues with her memory, and it's gradually gotten worse and worse. And she has like no short-term memory at this point. You know, her health does not improve. Things only get worse, not just with her memory. And this just brought back so many different memories and so many different thoughts and feelings about death and loss and grief and dealing with things. And this is about trying not to cry. Not working. But yeah, it made me think of things from 30 years ago to things that were just a few years ago to things that haven't even happened yet. Like, hold on. Dang it, this book. Okay. Thinking about like the loss of a parent, moving past fears, and just all kinds of things. And wow, look at this book. So yeah, I give this one 5 stars. It says I'm on chapter 21 of 71. I'm listening to it on Scribd. And I don't think I realized that this is an Anastasia Romanov retelling set in space. I knew it was set in space, but I didn't know that it was an Anastasia retelling. And I very quickly figured that out last night listening to this. And I love Anastasia. Like, okay, for one, the movie, I freaking love the movie Anastasia. That was like one of my favorite animated movies. So I mean, I'm really enjoying this. And I'm curious what's going to happen between her and Di, which is like her robot friend that she's trying to help. I think she's like falling in love with him, which is weird, but he has no actual feelings. Yeah. So I'm enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to continuing it. Oh, and I did finish Heart of Iron, and I think I'm going to give that one like 4.5 stars. It didn't quite give me like the 5-star, like it got me all up in the feels, but I was definitely like, I need the second book, which is Soul of Stars. Like, oh my goodness, that book. How it ended, I need to continue. Okay, so I think for this one, I'm going to go with A Dark and Hollow Star by Ashley Shuttleworth. It's on Scribd. It says, there's a thing about a series of gruesome and ritualistic murders rocks the city of Toronto and threatens to expose fairies to the human world. So I am going to pick that. Last night I finished A Dark and Hollow Star. I very much enjoyed it. I think, man, I'm freezing. Hold on, I gotta get something to put on me. Okay. I think I'm going to give that one 4 stars. It's like Norse mythology meets Fae meets Dungeons and Dragons. And I really wasn't expecting that. I could see the Fae and the Norse mythology thing mixing together, but I was totally not expecting the Dungeons and Dragons aspect, and I very much enjoyed it. So there are a bunch of Ironbloods, humans, that are being murdered, and the High King of the folk is not really concerning himself too much about it. But our main character, she's Ironborn. She's like half human, half Fae, and she's trying to figure out what's going on. And because the High King isn't really doing anything about it, she decides to do something about it, even though she's a teenager. And most people believe that it is the Dark Star responsible for it. And the Dark Star, she's like an exiled Fury. She was once a Fury, and now she's still an immortal, but she's stuck living with the humans. But obviously she didn't do it, and the two team up together to try to figure out what's going on. Also, it's definitely queer, and I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I give it 4 stars. It was a lot of fun. Okay, it is now 4 o'clock, and I actually have finished 2 books. So I finished The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and I'm going to give that one, let's say 4 stars. It follows a group of kids that have like natural abilities to be like a lie detector or a profiler, things like that. And the FBI has recruited them to help solve cold cases. But there is a serial killer on the loose that gets a little close. And I really enjoyed it. I'm very much looking forward to continuing that series. I've even recommended it to Xander. I think he would very much enjoy it. If you hear stuff going on in the background, Xander and his friend are watching Ma, I think it is. I was like, well, since I finished that, I had a book on Libby that came in a while ago, and it was being returned in 4 days. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and listen to that. And I finished it. And that was You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Bayron. That one, I think I'm going to give 3 stars. It's set at this, like, summer camp type place where it's almost like an escape room. Not really an escape room. It's like you go just to be scared. It's kind of like a haunted type thing. And it's all staged, and there's, a planned staff for everything, and the people that are supposed to die, and the final girl and all that. And our main character's the final girl. But something is different this year, and things go wrong, and people are actually dying. In the end, it was just kind of like a bit cheesy. I don't know. It was okay. So I'm just going to give it 3 stars. So those are all 11 books that I read in October. Have you guys read any of them? Did you like them? Did you not? Comment down below and let me know. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you. Bye.